Hey, what's going on, guys? For today's video, we're going to be trying out Gunprimer's new SOLVEN product here. They sent me a sample of this to try and share my thoughts with you guys, as well as some micro swab and cleaning sheets that we're going to use for that as well. And I've also got a second set of that I want to give away to one of you guys, so stay tuned in the video. Later on, I'll let you know how you can enter to win a set of this stuff for yourself. But let's go ahead and check out the SOLVEN. So what is SOLVEN? Basically, it is a cleaning solution, as you can see here on this very nice black box. Got a little bit of information here on the back side there as well, in English and in Korean. And basically, this is meant to be used for cleaning up your panel linings. So as you guys know, there's a number of different ways to do your panel lining, and we're going to test a couple of different ways here in today's video. But basically what we've got here in the box is our bottle of the SOLVEN. And then we've got a spoid or eyedropper lid that you can use to replace the lid on here. And there's what that's going to look like, 50 milliliters here per bottle. It's very clear. And there's a couple of key points to this. So whether you're doing your panel lining either by using like some Tamiya accent color like this, which is probably the most common way, otherwise Gundam markers, which we will also try out in today's video. The most common ways to clean up your panel lining when you're done is either using enamel thinner, which is very stinky and toxic and is not good to inhale, or lighter fluid, which is what I like to use. The smell is not quite as strong as enamel thinner, and I find that this works a little bit better, but it does still have a smell to it. And there's a couple of other things that we're going to test here in today's video. One of the points that I want to test with this is that it's stated that you can also use this much sooner than other products. So typically if you're using like Tamiya's panel line accent color, once you apply it, you need to leave it on for 20-30 minutes, if not a little bit more, just to let this dry a little bit before you go to clean it up with either your enamel thinner or lighter fluid, just because if you try to clean it up while this is still kind of wet, it's going to end up smearing. The promise of SOLVEN is that you're able to do this much sooner, after only about 5 minutes or so. And basically this is going to be less harsh, and it's meant to remove the excess liquid, excess paint or marker or whatever, more so just through friction of this being applied rather than dissolving the paint and then wiping it away. And that's where you get your smearing of the paint product that you're using for your panel line color. So not only does this promise to have no smell, you can use it faster, and you don't have to wait in between time of applying the lining product and cleaning it up, but it also promises that you don't need to use very much of the liquid in order to do that. So those are the things that we're going to try out, and these are the three products that we're going to be trying. So panel line accent color, some Mr. Weathering color here as well, and then Gundam marker. So I've got these parts here that we're going to test these out on, parts from an HG Moon Gundam. So Gundam marker on this one, weathering color on this one, and accent color on this one. And then I do also have a painted part here. This is just a white part left over from a kit that I just sprayed some Mr. Color spray lacquer color paint on without any primer or anything. And you can see why that's an issue and why I would recommend to use a primer, because you can see the paint doesn't really adhere very well along these raised edges and everything. But what I want to test with this is basically how harsh the SOLVEN product is on paint. So if you're using it on a painted product, obviously you don't want it to be harsh and removing any of your paint when you're doing that. So lighter fluid and or enamel thinner will do that to lacquer paint if you like get too aggressive with it. Now hopefully with this it's able to do it without having that issue, and we'll test that out here in just a moment. The other two products that they sent for helping with the cleanup here is a set of 500 micro swabs here, basically like small fine tipped Q-tips. These are actually super duper fine with a wood stem and then your kind of a Q-tip cotton swab really tightly wrapped there around on the edge. So these would be really useful for like really fine removal. And there's also a box here of the SOLVEN applicator cleaning sheets, 200 each of these, and there's in this side thing here. So these are basically kind of like what you would have typically for like doing nails and things, these like soft pads here like that, but they do look pretty nice quality there for those. And here is a clip for clipping like a few of them together, because especially if you're using this without gloves or anything, you don't want to use like just one. It might be a good idea to like take a few and like fold them over. So I'm just going to put a couple sheets in here to the clips, and you can just kind of use this for wiping away. We'll see how well that works. For right now, let's get our panel liner here on our pieces and give this just a few minutes to dry so we can see how well that works. That'll be enough with the accent color there. For now, that center line and a couple of those lines give us like basically a panel line detail, and the inside of this shape gives us a way to test how this is going to work on basically just like a recessed edge, not an actual panel line. As you guys know, sometimes when removing the panel lining with a cotton swab and just kind of normal lighter fluid or enamel thinner on those just recessed edges, it's kind of very easy to completely wipe away that because it's like partially exposed. All right, so then I also went ahead and applied some of that panel line accent color here to the painted part, and I was intentionally a little bit messy with that just to try out to see how that is going to affect the paint. Then I went ahead and went with the Gundam marker here on this one, again trying to be a little bit messy with that just to see how well that's gonna work. And then for the Mr. Weathering color, got really messy with that. As it's a weathering kind of wash, it's sort of meant to be messy, maybe not particularly that much, just kind of depends on how you're applying that, but we'll see how it handles a pretty messy gunk wash here as well. So the first and honestly most important step to me is just the odorless claim here of this, because that's the main thing. I mean, otherwise for me, I mean, lighter fluid works well. The only thing is that just it's got a little bit of smell. If this works well and has no smell, then I like it. So let me see if I can get a good whiff of this. And like, I don't want to like try to like huff it, but I mean, I'm not getting any smell from it. So far I can say that yes, it does have no smell. So that's awesome. Now these micro swabs are really cool and would be good for particular purposes for like what we're testing today. I don't know if they're necessarily really the right tool for our testing purposes. I will go ahead and just try them out here. And I don't really need to use the spoid dropper. I'm just going to get a little bit here on the end, just get that good and wet. You know, part of the claim is that it actually doesn't need to be that soaked. You don't need to use that much of the material of the liquid, so I'm gonna dab that a little bit on there. I'm gonna try this here on the Gundam marker first, just because even with Gundam marker, you don't need to wait any time. And you can see it is smearing a little bit. I think it's probably because I have like a lot more fluid on there than you're really meant to. And with a fine tip like that small, that little bit of a cotton bud on there, it's gonna be very easy to like over soak that with more solvent than you really need on there. And after a little bit more work on that, you can see it is kind of making a bit of a mess of it. I think that just this is not really the right tool for this. So like I said, there is definitely uses where you need like a really, really fine tip Q-tip or cotton swab like this. Not really for this. So I am gonna go ahead and drop a little bit of that onto here. And then I think this should work to clean that up pretty good and well now here. And there we go, that definitely got rid of the smudging quite a bit and works pretty well. The panel lining is still not like exactly super crispy and perfect. I think it does work quite well though. Again, maybe not exactly the intended use for these products too, but considering that this test is using Gundam marker directly on just plastic, unpainted plastic, I don't really do that very often, but on the rare occasion where I do want to just like panel line an unpainted kit just for the purposes of like a display or something like that, this is a good option. I will definitely use this. Probably just going to use it with just like regular Q-tips, cotton swabs though, I think will be much better option for just cleaning up. But as far as the liquid goes, it definitely cleans it up and it's definitely odorless, so it works really well for that. It's now been about maybe 5 or even closer to 10 minutes now here on our accent wash, and this is going to be the main test because I think this is like the most common panel line product that people use, especially on painted parts, and we will take a look at that painted part up next after this. But as far as like an unpainted part goes, I'm gonna use the dropper and just drop a little bit here on my cotton swab, and again just a little bit on there. And I think this is going to be much more in line with the intended use for this product and should give us the best results. So as you can see, it is wiping it up and not smearing anything. It's also cleaning pretty good along those edges there. So not the actual panel line, but the edge, these inner edges right here. And where there's the panel line, it worked really, really well. Where we just have this recessed edge right there that I was talking about, you can see on this side it did it pretty well. On that side it maybe erased a little bit more than I wanted to. And I think that's just a matter of maybe getting a feel for just how much liquid you need on the cotton swab and just how much pressure you want to apply. If you have a lot of liquid on there and you're really applying a lot of pressure, you're going to get rid of that entirely. Just to demonstrate, I'll show you what I mean. Like here, I can completely erase that part if I wanted to. So it's just a matter of like getting a feel for, you know, when to stop rubbing on the part, basically, and just how to kind of deal with it. So like this side, you can see on the bottom, it looks great. On the top, I did a little bit too much. In that case, you can just apply more pen liner on there and just have another go at it. But I think it works really well. And again, there's no smell, so that's the best part. Now trying on our painted part here, I put 2 drops on the cotton swab, and this should get rid of the accent wash without streaking it and without damaging the lacquer paint. Now again, the lacquer paint is not exactly applied in the correct way. There's no sanding or primer underneath this, so it's not really ideal, but it should give us at least an idea of how this might affect our lacquer paint, or not affect our lacquer paint ideally. You can see it looked like it was maybe smudging the accent wash a little bit, so maybe a little bit more time to dry would have been good. But again, I think it's just a matter of getting a feel for the timing and exactly how much liquid you need there of this, but it cleaned up pretty good there, I gotta say. All right, last test then on a messy gunk wash using Mr. Weathering Color. Again, really not exactly what this product is intended for, but we're gonna give it a try and see what happens. I'm expecting it's gonna be kind of messy, but honestly, it looks like it's working really well. So, I mean, this is meant to be a weathering product, so it's actually supposed to look somewhat messy. It's not actually meant to work as like a panel lining product, but just kind of want to give you guys an idea of how, if you do want to use the solvent for this, if you take some time to work it around a little bit, it is actually going to work pretty well for working with your Mr. Weathering Color here as well, actually. So yeah, again, I think it's maybe not really made for that necessarily, but works well. And the fact that it's odorless makes this a pretty nice product, I gotta say. So taking a look at what we tested here today, how does this product live up to its claims? Let's go through the claims here. Number 1, the fact that it's odor-free. I can definitely say it's absolutely odor-free. So for that, that's definitely a win. Next, on the efficiency of it, removing your Panaline paint or ink or whatever with less fluid. I mean, kind of, not particularly. I mean, I think that it's maybe not that much less than I would normally use if I'm just using lighter fluid. So, I mean, does it need a lot of fluid? No. Is it less than what I would use typically? Not necessarily. It's kind of the same amount. As far as selective cleaning and only cleaning areas where you're directly applying pressure and not smearing the paint so much, that one also I think maybe takes a little bit of practice, and it's kind of a little bit up to like user error. You might have to try a little bit to just kind of get the hang of exactly how much you need, how much dry time you need, depending on which product you're using, exactly the desired effect. Because sometimes if you're using like the Mr. Weathering Color, you want it to streak a little because you want it to give it like a weathered look. So that I think is just kind of up to how you're going to be using it. That also kind of covers the quick cleaning start claim, where it just says that you don't need to wait as long to use the solvent. Again, that's just kind of up to your personal preference, how exactly you're using it, and how much of the product you're using, etc. And then as far as the included applicators, again, both of these I think definitely have their uses. These micro swabs are great for like really fine-tuned panel lining. For just parts like this, for most Gunpla, they're maybe a little bit too fine. You're probably not going to need anything quite this fine most of the time, but definitely good to have some. So if you guys don't have some of these, I would definitely recommend picking up a box, because 500 of these will last you a long time. So pick up a box of these because they're good to have on hand when you need them. The cleaning sheets too work pretty well, and I think would work well on stuff. Again, if you're like not working on a painted kit, you have just a snap built kit that you just want to do some panel lining on, and you want to be able to clean up the panel lining, and it doesn't include like a lot of really like fine details and anything like that. The cleaning sheets can definitely work well for that as well. So what's the final verdict on Solvent from Gunprimer? For me, I gotta say it's great, just for the simple fact that it's odorless. I mean, for nothing else. Everything else for me, it kind of performs pretty much exactly the same as lighter fluid, essentially. The biggest thing is just the fact that it's odorless, and especially working in an enclosed room that I work in here, where I don't have any windows or any like particular like good ventilation, that's definitely a really great point. So if you guys are in a similar situation, I would definitely recommend this for you guys. But if you guys do have any other further questions or comments about the product, definitely let me know. I can do further tests if I need to be able to answer your guys' questions, but I hope that should cover everything that you guys need to know about Gunprimer's solvent here. Now, if you want to win a set just like this, a brand new set of these 3 products here for yourself, here's what you got to do. You got to leave a like on the video, make sure that you're subscribed, and then I want you guys to leave a comment in the comment section, let me know what's your preferred way of panel lining and also cleaning up your panel lining, because like I said, there's a bunch of ways to do it. Everybody has different ways. I know using the panel line accent color and Gundam markers is definitely the most common, I would think, but I know that there's a lot of different ways. You can also use like mechanical pencil and other pigment inks and all sorts of other stuff. So let me know in the comments, what is your preferred method? And then also, what product do you use to clean up your panel lining? And, you know, might possibly Solven be a good bet for you? Let me know in the comment section and I'll choose one random comment and send you this set of products for yourself. But that's gonna do it for today, guys. So thank you so much to Gunprimer for sending me this new product to try out. I always like checking out their new products because they always got some really interesting stuff. So thank you, Gunprimer, for that. And as always, guys, if you want to check out some more Gunprimer products for yourself, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. This is a new product that's just out this month, so it should be coming into your preferred hobby stores. If they don't have it already, they should be getting it very soon, so definitely be on the lookout. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, really would appreciate you subscribing, not only just to win the products for yourself, but just if you enjoy the video. Thanks so much for all of your support. Till next time, hope you guys all have a great day. See ya!